Big news out of San Francisco overnight as hairdressers protested Nancy Pelosi's house. No joke. They left on her front tree a lot of blow dryers. Also, no joke. Nancy Pelosi emerged from her house minutes ago and looked up at the blow dryers and thought, oh, good news. Now I have more to blow off American people with. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday mornings, and this is Mornings LALATE. Thank you for tuning in to the Net's now most watched morning news show. Every morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with big, exciting news about second stimulus check, second stimulus packages, FPUC, PUA, LWA, and a lot of more of that as well. Let me get to the incredible details overnight, and then I have incredible news minutes ago about new payrolls, about Treasury yields, and what this means for unemployment numbers. Really incredible news across the board. Next week, Republicans will introduce a thinned-out stimulus bill. Nancy Pelosi's not happy because this is the second time she's dealing with thinned-out things in 1 week. But let me get to the details of the thinned-out bill. It will feature second stimulus checks, yes. FPUC 2.0, yes. And then additional things that may not concern you. Money for K-12 for schools to make sure that they're safe. And then additional testing for COVID in certain jurisdictions. This is incredible news. The turnaround time that's being predicted by the Republicans, namely Mark Meadows, Chief of Staff to Donald Trump, is a 1 week turnaround time to get it approved in both the Senate first and then the House. Yes, he says it's going to get approved in the House. Details about that second stimulus check and that FPUC minutes from now. But let me get to the other incredible news. And this was really bombshell, unpredicted, out of nowhere, incredible details that impacts your second stimulus check overnight. Yesterday, unbeknownst to anyone, with no fanfare, with no press releases, and with no pre-warning, Nancy Pelosi met with someone. Steve Mnuchin, boy. Treasury Secretary to Donald Trump, the man who she has always said is the lead negotiator for the second stimulus check and stimulus package, the man she chatted with in the first time around back in May to get the first, or March, to get the first stimulus package done, and the person that many thought would get the deal done with her this time around but hadn't. They brokered a deal last night, yesterday afternoon, or Eastern Standard Time on the East Coast. It was not about checks, but it singularly did the most important thing to get you your checks in that meeting. What did that deal do? The deal formulated what's called a bridge gap or stopgap to effectuate a deal upon a bill that had to be done by September 30th. If you recall, what I've been talking about on this channel is that members of Congress come back into session next week. They come back next week to the Senate. They're coming back to the House. The only thing that's not coming back is Nancy Pelosi's hairstyle. But everything else is coming back. And they only have 15 days to get your second stimulus check, stimulus package deal done. But they had something else to do. And that was a big worry for this channel, a big worry for Democrats, a big worry for Republicans. It was a funding bill for the federal government due September 30th. They had to do that at the same time, and if they didn't do it, the federal government would shut down. There was that issue. There was an issue of timing, getting it done at the same time as the second stimulus check. There was also the issue of would the Democrats use that as an anchor to hold up your second stimulus check, saying, I'm not going to give you your second stimulus check unless you do this specific funding bill. Incredible great news overnight. First, the deal has been formulated for this funding bill. Second, it's not anchored or tied to your second stimulus check. So your second stimulus check is not being held ransom once again. It's free to move around, and it's a Friday morning. It's free to move and dance into a Treasury and send it out in the mail. It's free. It's not encumbered by other mess. And fourth, it now clears basically the entire next to 15 days, even though it's not going to take 15 days. I want to fully brief you on that, to get your second stimulus package approved. So now let's go to the incredible details before I get to this incredible financial news minutes ago released, and it's making everyone's head just turn. Your second stimulus package will include checks. This is not a stimulus package you have seen before. It has never appeared in any form. It is not the skinny bill. It is not the heels bill. Moreover, it is the subject of a lot of misreporting, including even Chuck Schumer yesterday, who talked about the terms of it when he has not even seen it. The deal has been formulated over the last couple of weeks in silent negotiations. Well, not silent, secret negotiations. That's silent negotiations, not silent negotiations, secret negotiations between Republicans and Democrats in the Senate. And the terms are very finite. First, stimulus check. Second, FPUC's. Third, K-12. And finally, testing. Let's get to the details about the check. You're going to get a check. Second stimulus check. And some people have asked me, so let me answer this as well. Will this be your last check? No. No. Steve Mnuchin said if we need more checks, we're going to send out more checks. He said that. Second, the Republican leadership has said that as well, and the Democratic leadership has said it as well. Third, Joe Biden said yesterday his stimulus package, if he's approved as president, if he's elected as president, would go out in January, another round of stimulus checks. So there's a lot of other stimulus checks going out potentially in the next couple of weeks. But this is the second stimulus check. It's second if you received one before. It's first if you didn't receive one before. Now, where are the people who didn't receive one before? Well, those are dependents, adult dependents. Didn't get a check the first time around. My SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Railroad Benefit viewers who are dependents on their child's tax returns or someone else's tax returns. If you're dependent on someone's tax return, you did not get a first stimulus check. It was a very bad bill. I'm sorry, I wasn't there. I would have just hit the floor and, took my hairdresser's blow dryer and just, turned it on loud and say, no, gotta blow this out and do it the right way. But unfortunately, what they did was they did not do a check the first time around for adult dependents. This time they are. Incredible, great news. Minor dependents getting a second stimulus check. Everyone's getting a second stimulus check. If you made 99,000 individual 2019 gross revenue, I think it is, or 198 married couple. If you made more than that, then you might get a watered down stimulus check. But everyone otherwise is getting a stimulus check. $1,200. $2,400 married couple. Very great news. The things we don't know are the following. The amount for the dependents. There's some calls for dependents to get $500. There's some calls to get the dependents to $1,200. There's some calls to say we're going to do a household of 5. Other calls to say household of 4. There's some debate about whether stimulus checks are taken out for child support among Republicans. Some say yes. Democrats say no. So we really don't know. What I want to make very clear to you as we start the new week, what's going to happen is you're going to have, and this is according to Mark Meadows, you're going to see the bill for the first time. And then there's going to be haggling. It's like you're at a car auction. You're like, $10, $2. You're haggling. There'll be haggling. And so things will go up and things will go down. So I don't want you to be pre-warned or worried about what you see initially the first minute coming out. Third, there is going to be really only this. It's a $500 billion bill. We already know what's in the bill. We know it's in the bill because Steve Mnuchin has briefed it for us. The second part that's in the bill, that's really a big concern for the viewers of this channel, is FPUC coming back. Congratulations. It's like welcome Carter with Horshack and John Travolta back in the day. It's coming back, and I think the number is going to be about $400. Viewers have asked me, why do I think it's $400? I mean, this is my speculation. This is not based upon anyone's particular statement. No one has said it's going to be $400. This is my speculation. It's because of the negotiations. Steve Mnuchin ended negotiations with Pelosi and Chuck Schumer at $400. President floated $400. The LWA, it basically is $400. It's $300 plus $100. Everything is $400. But you have another twist, which is this time you're dealing with some Senate Republicans who really don't want to give a lot of money, and they don't want to even give $100. So will it go to $600? No. Will it go to $500? I just don't see that happening. That's sort of like thinking that Nancy Pelosi is going to change her hairstyle. I just don't see it happening. $200? No. $300 is just insane. You know, I've seen crazy things happen in this entire scandalous thing, but I think it's really going to land at $400. It'll be retroactive, so that's incredible good news. Retroactive to the last date at which FPUC was active, which was late July, and you will get basically the bridge between what you got for LWA. So if you did get LWA for let's say this week, you won't get LWA plus FPUC. You'll get the difference between the two. This is incredibly great news. Remember, if you're still waiting for FPUC 1.0 from March to March to July, it's coming, you know, just certify for benefits. I have real incredible great news. It was publicly put on the comments last night. Kevin Lee, one of my OGs of this channel, and this is so important to listen to because it's about hope, it's about dedication, it's about focus, and it's mostly about patience. Kevin Lee was one of my earliest viewers of this channel, my original OGs when this channel only had 100 viewers. Remember, this channel started on April 25th. We're at 234,000 and now 3.5 months, almost 4 months. I mean, it's just incredible. But he was at a time when I had 100 viewers. And he just he just posted on this channel last night in the comments that he got approved for back FPUC just yesterday. It took this long after watching my videos since April to get approved by his state. He went up and he went down and he went up and down. Guess how much he's getting? About $19,000 to $20,000. That's why the spirit of hope of this channel is always rich. I've had that story happen routinely. I have helped people get anywhere between $5 to $20 million for EIDL, just a loan, EIDL granted loans. I can't calculate how many people I've helped get PUA and UI. You know, Eileen Beckenham, who I saw jump in the comments yesterday, I hadn't seen her in a while. It was good to see her back. I mean, she was one of my earlier viewers for FPUC and PUA. Hadn't got anything from Florida. She stayed with me. She stayed with me. She stayed with me. She understood my perseverance and my dedication. And she finally got $9,000, $8,000, $9,000. I think it was in June. And she just waited from March to June. So I understand a lot of you really, you know, it's hard to remain dedicated and motivated. But I mean, this is the spirit of the channel. Dedication, motivation, focus, and staying here. That's what's going to happen with FPUC. So it will go back to the last day at which FPUC 1.0 ended. It will be retroactive. It will pay you benefits. It will go to December 31st. It will go on top of BUA and UI. And that's incredible, great news. More news now about what's happening today. New numbers out, financial numbers, and they are incredibly good. They're incredibly good because it shows the economy is improving. They're bad if you think that it's going to hurt stimulus negotiations. But I just don't, I think everyone's on board to really get stimulus at this point. Non-farm payrolls increased 1.3 million in August, and the unemployment rate tumbled 8.4% as the U.S. economy improved, reports CNBC. They had expected growth of 1.32 million and jobless rates to decline by 9.8 from 10.2%. But the numbers are really incredible. We're still moving in the right direction. The pace of the jobs recovery seems to have picked up, but still looks like it takes a while and likely the vaccine before we get close to where we're the end of the beginning of the year, says Tony Benham, head of global markets at Citizens Bank. We continue to see optimism the economy has turned a corner and we'll continue to see steady progress. This is great news. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet. I mean, this is, you know, we're not having celebrations. We're not popping the cork and, you know, pouring the champagne, the Merlot, or the Sauvignon Blanc, or the, you know, the Pelosi Pinot Grigio. We're not pouring that early in the morning. But it shows incredible progress. Temporary layoffs declined, falling up 1/3 to 6.2 million, off of their high of 18.1 million. So we're at 6.2 versus 18.1 million in April. However, permanent job loss, which is really what I focus a lot about on this channel, is still not good. It also jumped. It rose 534 million to 3.4. So that's actually up. Laid off workers who returned to jobs also fell, however, about by 200,000. So unemployment growth is still set to lag the recovery in broader economic activity, wrote Andrew Hunter, chief economist at Capital Economics minutes ago. So that's that. Treasury yields, which no one really talks about, which are tied to unemployment numbers, show real good happiness by the markets as to where unemployment might be heading. Treasury yields went higher today, minutes ago, as August job claims came in stronger. So they're very happy that the U.S. economy added 1.3 million jobs in August, according to labor market numbers. Those numbers were ahead of 1.32 expected by economists, reports CNBC, poll by Dow Jones. It's a strong growth reaction. Higher yields curves, steeper curves. This is basically saying, hey, there is happiness with the progress of the U.S. economy as we sit here in August. Now, that's that. Meantime, Mohammed El-Edrarian, who's one of my favorites, he's a big economist at Alliance. He says that markets could drop as much as 10% again because there is too much frothiness. There is too much happiness currently as we sit here in August or September as to where we could go. I believe that's as true as well. There's concerns that you could have a double dip recession because we have not seen the impact of COVID-19 in the fall. We're looking at job growth here in July and August, and where we're going after that. Now, what's happening in the next 24 hours to 3 days is so important, and now I want to go over that with you as well. What you need to understand is you're going to get a second stimulus check. You're going to get a second stimulus package. You're going to get approval for this, but the path to it is going to be very fluid. And so I need you to stay with me because the next 7 days is hideously unpredictable. It really is. If you want me to predict what day the bill is going to be introduced, I don't know. If you want me to predict what day it's going to be approved by the Senate, I don't know. You want me to predict if Senate Democrats are going to skip the aisle and vote in favor of the bill, I don't know. You want me to predict what's going to happen when it goes to the House after it's approved in the Senate, I don't know. There's a lot at stake. That's just in that path. Then we have this incredible progress and renewed optimism and happiness that Steve and Nancy are talking again. Could they quietly have another negotiations for the second stimulus package and get it done without us hearing about it? Absolutely. Could they broker a deal on the eve of Senate Republicans and Senate Democrats and Senate and House representatives, both Democrat and Republicans, coming back into session? Yes. You have to understand, Nancy Pelosi's position is that Steve Mnuchin is the lead negotiator. It's a personality conflict. She doesn't like Mark Meadows. So would she possibly have a quiet meeting with Steve Mnuchin and get something done and not tell us? Yes. And what would happen if that happened? Well, if you're new to this channel, this is how it works. If there is a deal formulated for the second stimulus package between Mnuchin and Pelosi, unbeknownst to any of us, as we're focusing on a new path to getting it done with the Republican and the Senate bill, what would that do? It would arguably override or nullify or solidify everything that's going on with that path. Mnuchin represents the White House, and the White House by default represents the majority of the position of the Republicans. So if the White House says, I'm going to do a deal, and we got a deal, and the deal is done now, I understand you have something pending in the Senate, I understand you introduced this bill in the Senate, the White House will tell Republicans, back off that, do this is my deal, I got it done. That's how quickly things could change. What's happening next week may not suit the Temple of Doom, because next week doesn't involve everything. The path next week is to just do those 3 or 4 things in a finite bill, and then do hazard pay. Yeah, hazard pay. Food stamps, yes, more money for food. more money for schools, and then finally state and local. To do that in what would arguably be about a $650 billion bill thereafter. And quickly, it could be done very quickly. I mean, it could be done in about a week thereafter. I mean, this is incredible great news. I initially said it was October because, we had that stopgap thing with the federal government shutting down. I thought that has to be done first. Now that doesn't have to be done. This can be done. The third stimulus bill. I mean, it's so exciting. It's moving very quickly. And that's why it's so important to stay with me. Coming up on Afternoons LLA, I try to break this all down for you. If you're new to this channel, I do a different video starting at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time every day that tackles the different issues. The first one's about the check. The second one's about hazard pay or any other breaking news that's worthy of a big special, as it was yesterday. The third one is about unemployment benefits. That video is at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. You need to tune in if you have questions about PUA, UI, LWA. You need to tune in because that's where I really go into credible detail. And the viewership last night was great on that video, so I appreciate you tuning in. I'm trying to make clear where I'm tackling certain subjects. And finally, rent. Eviction moratoriums are not necessarily as clear as they are. You're not particularly saved across the board with that big new rent eviction moratorium under CDC. That video follows shortly thereafter at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm trying to segment all these stimulus subject matters throughout those 4 videos on Afternoons LLA. Finally, Evenings LLA, I tackle back into stimulus checks at 6:45. That also involves anything that's breaking late in the day. And then finally, after that is usually EIDL at 7:15 or anything that warrants a special. And boy, my specials have literally been delivering lots of more chock full of nuts than a cup of coffee. If you're from New York, I saw that one viewer that said that. I did a special about this package next week before it was ever announced. I did a special about state and local before it was ever revealed that the amount that's being asked by Pelosi is too overrun. I did a special about why Republicans want to get it done this way through the House. I've done a lot of incredible specials that tell you what's happening over a week earlier. That's why you got to stay with the Purple Power. Thank you for becoming part of the Purple Power. And one of the things we're going to be launching in the next couple of days, and I'd love your insight, is we're going to be launching what channels can have, which is called subscriptions. It's just a little fun thing to have the ability to put little emojis next to your name and things like that. But it also allows me to provide perks. And so if you think there's a perk that I should offer, I can't believe I'm asking this. You think there's a perk I should offer? Give me some suggestions. And if you make a suggestion that I ultimately use, I'll gift you something. I don't know what I'll give you, but I'll give you something. So what perks should I do? Coming up after that is a lot more fun. Go to the front of this channel and hit the subscribe and alert button so you get an alert when a new video goes live. This channel is breaking all YouTube records. It is now the most watched stimulus channel on YouTube across the board. On viewership, on daily numbers, we're breaking everyone's records. So we are absolutely going bonkers, and I appreciate your patronage. Let's continue to do it. But subscribing and hitting the alert button helps because we're just trying to grow subscribers to bring in new viewers. So when new viewers find this channel, you tell, hey, come on in. He has a lot of great information for you. Our focus is 250,000 subscribers. That's our new goal. Let's get to 250,000 in the next week. Next, like this video. Liking the video really helps. It helps the video appear higher in the algorithm, higher in the rankings, in a day in which, boy, yesterday we were not doing well, and the algorithm was beating us up. It generally beats us up about once every 2 weeks, and yesterday was the day we were beaten up. So please like this video. Liking the video helps this video appear higher in the ranks so that other people find this video and recommends this video when other people search for similar keywords. Coming up this afternoon is Afternoons LA at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay about LA for more.